There are some exceptions even to this, Fist of the North Star. To be fair, Kenshiro doesn't need rank.
He would be the -10 strongest man on Mythos Island. I'm glad that somebody laughed at that, got that. It made me happy. But we need the underdog. We need to root for the underdog. It's just something about humanity. We feel the need, and that gives us a connection to the character. And it also allows us that dramatic tension that builds, and then we're allowed to release and get the catharsis of the victory. That's made all the sweeter by having to fight for it. And another thing that always wins is good.
For varying, often questionable definitions of good. Case in point, Mazen Kaiser Stall. These guys are anything but good. They're fighting evil, so by definition.
But you rarely ever see the bad guy be victorious for long. You know, they will have their, and I'll get your little dog 2 moments where they're, standing victorious over the hero.
You have the Kefka moment in Final Fantasy VI where he actually destroys the world, spoilers. But the heroes all survive, and they come back and kick his ass.
But again, this relates to a primal need we have. We feel the need for someone who is just and right to receive victory because we feel they deserve it for being just and right.
And so the real world isn't always like that.
Even, and then we have shows like, what's an old example I don't want to spoil for somebody?
Oh, come on. There's a statute of limitations on this.
I don't know, Heavy Evangelion, where the entire world
What is
this
this?
anyway.
There is no good in that show.
There's that time that somebody punched Shinji in the face. That was pretty good.
Everyone knows who the real hero of that show is. No, I'm not going to answer that question.
The real hero is the end credits. But no, and that's part of the kind of, why we watch this genre. We want that sense of purity, that sense of, the good guys are good even if they're not necessarily good in the traditional sense. And we want the bad guys to lose. That's why we cheer every time Coach Capo gets into Mazinger Z, or because we know he's going to be victorious and he's going to deserve it.
We'll always have those moments of silence! We will let them combine into their Getter Robo and finish them then when they're at their strongest. And then they lose!
Because evil is dumb.
Or at the very least, big-headed.
But we also have this idea of, not just fighting spirit, but
alternate sources of power. Like if you are really mad at your target, you are almost instinctively going to be able to put all of your weight behind a punch because you want to do as much damage to this thing as possible because you hate it so much.
And again, this works by making us, the audience, hate the enemy. It's not going to work if he just hates the guy because he wore white slacks after Labor Day or something.
Oh, I know, that might be an interesting premise.
He has to do something. The bad guy has to do something.
Fashion fighter Gucci.
Or we have that scene.
What have I done?
Or we end up having that scene at the beginning of Down Our Final where they brainwash the guy's best friend and make him fight against him. That's gonna piss you off. And because we've gotten a connection to that character, we're going to be annoyed too.
But you feel almost as betrayed as the hero does.
Exactly, and that, again, we're able to connect to the hero. That's what this entire genre is being able to connect to something that is almost an idealized version of ourselves. You know, we see ourselves in a lot of these heroes. And anger is not the only way that we can connect to somebody. We can also connect through love.
I hear a lot of groaning, you jerks.
This is the only good time that was directed by Domino.
Arguably, it was the only good Gundam. No, I'm kidding. I'm just kidding.
No, because we'll see later that there are multiple examples of that. Yes, Gundam sucks. But no, again, we have this idea of love and you know, these connections, not just necessarily love specifically, but friendship, connection.
The connection between characters, our bonds give us strength.
You know, for those of you who've seen Brenda Gunn, that entire last like 5 minutes of the show, or that fight, where, you know, he's only strong because he knows people are watching him and he knows that he has something to protect.
Meanwhile, you'll have that dark, gritty anti-hero who needs no friends. And the entire point of the show that is starring that character is that, yes, you do need friends because he finds friends over the course of that show. But you know what? Emotions are out. This is just the big overarching thing, because if we just did every little thing, this is power, this is power, this is power, this panel would go on for the rest of the night.
Which I'm sure some of you would actually like that, because
you're crazy.
Why you still listen to me after all of this? People keep showing up to my panels and I never figure it out. But again, you know, this is the connection thing. We have, you know, we're able to see that the hero is human. And by contrast, we're able to see that the villains are, if not unhuman, at least, you know, what we're
suppressing their humanity.
They're still doing humanity for power. You know, by relying on emotions, you know, we're able to see that the hero is, you know, one of us, really. That at the end of the day, he cries, he feels bad. He
regrets his mistakes.
And again, that lets us form, you know, a connection with the hero. But sometimes, you know, the tropes just exist to make things more awesome.
Well, let me tell you, every person in this promo image here has some form of superpower, and only one of them has an explanation for it.
Yeah,
it's the kid.
Yeah,
his superpower is he has a robot. His father built it. How? We don't know. Money, I guess.
But by not caring about the explanations, it does interrupt kind of this connection, but it also allows us to foresee a circumstance in which we can become the heroes, because they just got their power through some mistake, maybe, or
maybe just through training, or just through mere serendipity.
And so we're able to put ourselves in their shoes and experience what they would experience. Another trope that just exists for, you know, making things more awesome is dramatic timing.
It's always when things look worse that the hero shines brightest.
You know, or, you know, a hero never shows up until the very last second. This is a show called Die Buster, which is the sequel to Gunbuster. Great show. I think it's out of print now, which is
I don't know. Check the dealer's room. Scour the dealer's room.
But the context of this scene is, you know, the hero's giant robot has completely powered down and it's about to get hit by an enemy super attack. And she
all of a sudden the ground shatters, and this human-sized thing rises out of it. And it's a character that's been around for a long time, who evidently didn't know that she was a superpowered robot. And then she commences to kick this thing's ass. And then she splits the planet in two because there's no kill like overkill.
But again, we go over the top because at some point, you know, this is going beyond any reason to connect to Heroes. It's just awesome.
This alone is what Michael Bay banks on.
And to be fair, it's a valid reason to like a movie.
I think all the Transformers movies sold so well.
We want to see,
for hardcore reasons.
you know, we want to see the awesome scene. We want to see, we want to see the scene in, I lost my train of thought. But, you know, we want to see those scenes where that awesome thing happens. We want to see that scene at the end of Ren Gone. And
We actually want to see that stock footage of the robots come out. We actually want to see that stock footage of the robot doing a super attack. Because it looks cool. But who want to be the one doing that?
but also it simplifies things and it makes it very easy to kind of fall into these, you know, I don't want to say fall into because it sounds like it's a trap, but we feel these emotions and these peak experiences, which are, you know, part of the reason why we keep coming back to cons like this is we have these peak experiences of